everyone. It's Raquel Bell, your wealth-minded mama, and I'm here today with my good friend. Okay, my sister's going to be watching this, so I have to be honest. She's my sister's good friend from high school. However, I so envy Shantania. I've been knowing her since in high school, and I love what you have developed and the business that you have now. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Shantania Leggins with Wealth and Elegance. And my first question, first of all, thank you for coming here today. My first question for you is, as a financial coach, what made you think I want to get into helping people financially and get that mindset going for wealth?
Well, thank you so much, Raquel, for having me. I love having conversations centered around women, money, finance. That's my fancy.
Yes.
But honestly, how I got into the financial services realm, I started investing at a young age. And I know you're probably like, oh, wow, 16, I started my first mutual fund. But
Wait. Rewind. You just said at 16.
At 16.
16?
Yes.
So at 16, who was having this conversation with you?
Well, see, that's the deal. And I always bring this up. My mom had made probably every financial mistake you could think of, right?
Yes.
And I was the last kid, and she had begun figuring some stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And so she told me when I started working that I had to start a mutual fund.
Okay.
Now, the truth of the matter is, I didn't know the difference between a mutual fund and a mutual friend. But
I love
But you listen to your mama, right?
Yes.
And so I
Yes.
did. I started my mutual fund at 16. And, I like information. I like knowing stuff, right? And so I began reading, and Rich Dad, Poor Dad was like one of the first books I read, and then The Millionaire Next Door. And so I began exposing myself to the world of financial services. And I mean,
love it.
the truth of the matter is nobody, from where I'm from, we're from the,
We're
inner
from
city,
in the
right?
inner city, New
Nobody
Orleans.
wasn't talking about wealth building and all of that.
No.
But that's kind of what sparked my my desire to want to be in this industry. And I actually got fully licensed when I was 19 years old. I had all of my insurance license, investment
I love
licenses.
that.
And I went to work for a firm.
Okay.
And I realized that at that point in my life, I didn't have the belief system to do that. It was a male-dominated industry, and I was 19, still living at home with my parents, and I just didn't believe nobody would, allow me to help them with their finances, right? And
Hey,
so
but everybody's calling her now.
that's-
Just FYI.
that's where the start came. Went on, finished college, worked in public accounting for a while. And then life would have it that, the opportunity to get back into the industry came my way. And at this point, I'm married with kids, homeowner. I'm different. And I'm like, okay, let's give it a shot.
I love
And
it.
the rest is history.
The rest is history. Thank you for that. Why women? Because I know even though you and your husband have a passion for individuals, families, married couples, but you have a specific passion for women. Why?
Women. So, the reality is, as I begun building my firm and working with a lot of women, I realized that women had this blockage when it came to
yes.
money. Let's just be honest. We are in Women's History Month, right?
We are.
The truth of the matter is we are only about 50 years removed from women being able to have their own credit cards, right?
Yes.
And so women, I found that women, they didn't believe that they could understand money and know about investing. They didn't think they were good at it. And it's only because that's the message that society has sold. But the truth of the matter is that's not true. And so as I began working with women, I started realizing that. And I realized that, when you think about money and finance, while many people think it's a complex topic, it's really not. It's just nobody has taken the time to teach you the fundamentals
Yes.
of building wealth. And
Yes.
so I make it my business to communicate to women in a language that they can understand.
I love
See, it's all about the language. Money is a language. Wealth is a language.
Yes.
Spanish and French is a language. But if you're never taught how to speak those languages,
Yes.
you won't be able to. And so I like to speak in a language that women can understand when it comes to money, wealth, and all things finances.
I love it. So if I called you today and we set up an appointment and you sit down with Raquel, what would be the first step? What is the first step that you tell your client?
Well, one of the first conversations we have is, I ask them like, why now? I want to know what's prompting them to say, okay, now is the time for me to get my money together. And then before we get into, most people think, that initial conversation is going to go straight to, okay, budgeting, investing, saving, and we got to get there. But I just believe that, we have to do the inner work first.
Correct.
See, we got to do the inner work. We're going to get to the budgeting and investing, but it's the mindset piece, right?
Yes.
See, your mentality shapes your reality in every area of your life, especially your finances.
Yes.
And so I want to have a conversation with them. I want to kind of get a feel for their money story. What they think about money, right? Do they, are they coming from a place of abundance or a place of scarcity? And that's not necessarily, how much money they have.
Correct.
That's their mindset.
Correct.
And so those are some of the first conversations that we have. And then from there, we can get into the practical stuff. We can get into budgeting. We can get into saving and investing. But initially, we got to address some of that mindset stuff because that's the stuff that keep people stuck. Oh, yeah. That's the stuff that you'll get out of debt, and then 5 years later, you look up and you're back in debt again.
There.
It's that
I totally agree. So your program, can you tell us a little bit about your services? Because I watch you, I follow you, I look at your videos. I think that they're so inspiring. But if I wanted to connect with you, A, where can I connect with you? And then B, what does those services look like? Because I'm telling you now, you guys need to get in touch with her. She's amazing, and it's simple. Success is simple, not easy, because you just have to take the first step.
Absolutely. So you can find me at wealthandelegance.com, just as it sounds, wealthandelegance.com. And from there, you can book a one-on-one session. And basically what that looks like is we're going to meet, and I'm going to just find out where you are, what your goals are. And from there, I can help you build a strategy, which is key, right? Because, I find that a lot of times people have, products, services, they've done this, they've done that. But you got to have a strategy. You have to have a plan. And, you're in real estate, right?
Yep.
And so I really liken what we do to building a home.
Yes.
When you go to build a house, you don't start with putting light fixtures and erecting walls. One of the first things they're going to do is they're going to lay the foundation.
They lay the foundation.
They're going to lay the foundation. And I always ask my clients, I say, hey, look, could I convince you to buy a home if you went there they pouring the foundation, they just poured the foundation yesterday, and now today you back and they are putting sheetrock up for walls. Could I convince you to buy that house? And everybody says no. Well, that's the same thought process when it comes to your financial house. You have to start with building a solid foundation so that when the winds of life come, you can still stand financially.
Thank you so much. That is beautiful, and I love everything that you have said. Now, I know one thing, you have a passion for women, and one thing that you mentioned before is that money can be an emotional topic, a very heavy topic to talk about. Now, how do you help us women who are emotional beings navigate this space? I know that you said mindset, but what are the steps that you help instill in women to navigate this heavy topic?
That's a great question. When it comes to money, you're absolutely correct. It is a heavy topic, but I think one of the first things is helping them identify what their beliefs are about money.
Yes.
Before you can fix a problem, you have to identify what the problem is, right? And so we go through some exercises just to kind of identify, what's your money story, right? Oftentimes I'll ask them questions like, what's your first memory of money? What was money like when you was growing up? Because there are some situations where maybe money was, there was a lack of money growing up. And as an adult, you have the people who, because it was a lack growing up, they take very good care of their finances now.
Are not
you
so
have
good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have the same people who, because it was a lack growing up, now they feel like I have money, I'm gonna spend it how I want, right?
Correct.
And so identifying those thought patterns behind money is one of the first things we have to do, right? Because the reality is your belief is gonna show up in your behaviors. And so if you have this belief about money that, maybe is scarce, or maybe you can't budget, or maybe I don't, I can't save, then guess what? You're going to always do things that will keep you feeling that way. And so it is very important that you identify what your thoughts are around money, and that takes intentional work. That
love
takes
that.
intentional work. You know, you have to recognize, okay, when you get to the point where you depressed, you stressed, and so you go shopping, let's talk about what was happening before then, right? Because in order for you to change in order for you to change your behaviors, you have to first change your beliefs. And in order
Yes.
for you to change your beliefs, you have to change your thoughts.
Yes.
And so
And that was a nugget that I just caught from you. Your beliefs equals your behaviors. And that is so key. And
time.
even myself, I have to find myself always, always thinking about why am I acting a certain way towards money.
Yeah.
So I love that.
absolutely.
So I do have another question for you.
Okay.
Do you mind sharing with us one of your success stories with you and your clients?
Absolutely. I have a few, but the one that sticks out, probably one of the most recent ones, I have a lady, I've been working with her probably since 2010 maybe.
Oh, wow.
And you know, the thing about it is she was doing like the things that we're taught to do. She was saving money. She had some insurance. She was participating in a 401k, but she didn't have a strategy. She didn't have a plan. At the time, her son was probably 9, 10. She's a nurse. And, you know, she was okay. But we went in, helped her do some things. And this is 12 years later. And, you know, she's accumulated a substantial amount of money. But that boy that she was saving money for, you know, was able to put him through college,
Yes.
paid for it, she wrote the check. But the thing that sticks out to me the most is last Christmas, her mom lives in another state, and she had gotten wind that her mom's car kept breaking down, but, you know, she would get rides, try to get it fixed, blah, 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 blah. So she calls me and she tells me that her sister suggested that, you know, she take money from a 401k if she wanted to buy her mom a car, whatever. And I explained to her why that was a bad idea. And I told her, I said, you have money. You know, we can just, if you want to buy your mama a car, instead of taking money from your 401k and stopping that growth, and, you know, let's take money from your account, you know? And because she was going to pay herself back to the 401k, I said, you could just pay yourself back. And so she took out $40,000 to buy her mama a brand new car. Like, that's what it's about, you know? When we talk about creating wealth, you know, I share these 4 keys all the time. One, you have to learn how to spend less than you earn. Sounds pretty simple, but, you know, it's a challenge sometimes.
It's a habit that you have to consistently work on. Yes.
So you got to spend less. You have to learn how to save more. And then you have to learn how to invest wisely.
Yes.
Saving and investing, that's 2 different things. It gives you 2 different outcomes.
Agree.
And when you get those 3 right, it allows you to do number 4, which for women is what we live to do. Give generously.
I love that.
Right? And so that's what she was able to do. Why? Because she followed the first 3. And the reality is this. We like to save the world.
Yes.
But before you can save the world, you got to save yourself. On a plane, they tell you, you got to put your mask on first.
First, make sure your seatbelt is before you check on the next person.
That's it. So that's probably my favorite story. I share it a lot because I believe at the end of the day, you're blessed to be a blessing.
Agree.
You're blessed to be a blessing.
And to think about what she did for her mom in that memorable moment.
Yes.
And how everyone, true heart's desire is really to give back to those that raised them and help support them and get them to where they are.
Yep.
That's a beautiful story. Once again, can you tell my audience and your audience how to get in contact with you? Because they need to talk to you like ASAP.
Absolutely. You can connect with me at my website, wealthandelegance.com. I'm on all the social media platforms at Wealth and Elegance. Simple as that. I would love to connect with you all.
Looking forward to connecting and sharing with you some other tidbits coming up soon, but make sure you hop on over to all of her channels. Trust me, her videos will blow your mind. Until next time, guys.